It was his dick. And, like, Andrew's like, oh, my God, I can't look away. I can't stop looking at it. And, Vic, I have to tell you something. As disturbed as I was by this, I kind of feel Andrew right here. It was like a bad car crash. I was, like, horrified by it. I was like, oh, my God, I can't believe I'm seeing this. Like, I couldn't look away. It was awful. So he's like, no, I can't sign that. Jesus fucking Christ. They blew me away. I couldn't believe that was on my screen at that time. That is not what I expected.
I'm thinking next time I go to a signing, I'm going to whip my dick out and have Kane Hodder sign it.
Well, the interesting thing is, apparently at all these conventions, everybody kept doing that joke to Adam Green, and before they meet him, he would say, or before the show, he'd be like, nobody do the joke. It's not funny anymore. We've done it so many times. So apparently everybody else had the same idea as you, Vic. But I wouldn't recommend you do that to Kane Hodder. Probably not the guy to do that to. He might rip your dick off.
He'd probably like it.
You realize that Andrew Yon, if he ever does, he's never going to do a convention because of this. People are going to be whipping their fucking dick out on him.
But I don't know. He might be gay.
But who wants a fat nerd's dick on their book?
Oh, Lord.
Then again, I want to see all women's tits, so it's whatever.
Yeah.
It's, it's fine. Anyway, so he called him a homophobe. He said he was going to tell everybody he was a homophobe on the Facebooks, and he said he was just going to torrent the audio version. And I'm like, this is Adam Green making fun of people who fucking stole his movies, you know?
Yes, sir. I love it.
That shit was so funny, though. Like, it was horrible, but it was so funny. Like, I didn't expect it. So right along that time, Felissa Rose gets she's like, get the fuck out of here. She finally realizes what's going on. She tells him, get the fuck out of here. And he says he's going to call him a homophobe on the Facebooks. And she's like, you think that's a big deal? Most people call him a murderer. I'm like, she's fucking funny. She reminded me of, because of her accent, she reminded me of Marissa Tomei and My Cousin Vinny. That fucking strong New York accent. It was great. Anyway, so she gets a phone call, and then she like makes Andrew leave this convention before these people can even really talk to him. So they're kind of on their own, or this book signing rather. And she's like, I got this interview signed up at Honey Island Swamp, and you just have to sit there and act, sad, make faces about it. And he's like, God damn it, why are people calling me? I should pick up. Anyway, he's like, no, I'm not doing it. She's like, it's for $600,000, and he's like, and he keeps walking, and she's like, but I got him up to $1 million. So he decides he's going to do it. He's going to take a private plane, supposedly, to go do an interview with somebody important like Ed Bradley, who's dead, which is funny too. So now we go from that, and we go right to the plane where he's sitting there fucking white-knuckling in his seat. And this plane is the shittiest fucking plane I've ever seen in my entire life. It's awful looking. And apparently whenever they got this plane, they asked Adam Green if they should spruce it up at all, make it look better because it was supposed to be a private plane. And he's like, no, that's the joke, is that, it's supposed to be shitty. You know what I mean? So we get various things in here. Like, you get Adam Green as a pilot, walk by. You saw that scene where he was with Joe Lynch. They walked by for like 2 seconds. They said they couldn't do a water landing. Well, Adam Green was with those fucking sunglasses. There's all sorts of other shit going on this plane. And this is where I really start moving along here, because I tell you what, other than the opening scene of this movie, there's a lot of nothing going on for about like 45 minutes before we get to the killing again. That's a long fucking time in a Hatchet movie or a Victor Crowley movie, Yeah,
no doubt about it.
That is a long gap without killings. Anyway, we go down to the ground where we've got the swamp, the Honey Island Swamp, where you've got the 3 kids, and they go meet up with this guy named Dylan, who's an aspiring actor. And this dude's fucking goofy. He reminds me of Dewey from Scream. I don't know how else to describe this guy. Like, he seems like he's supposed to be a parody. I know he is, but it's like, this guy can't be real. So we do a bunch of bullshit with them, and it's funny because Rose, Laura Ortiz, she's like, hi, and he tries to act all fucking sweet with her, and she's like, I have a dick. That was great. And he's like, oh. Back to the plane now. We get a lot of back and forth from the plane to the swamp during this time, and again, everything that's going on the plane is unimportant, other than you're meeting people like Tiffany Shepis' character, some other characters, but none of them matter. And what you do find out is that this talk show is going to be on Sabrina's show yet again. So Sabrina's going to have him come down there, and that's why it's such a shitty little airplane and everything. But Sean, that was his name in the first one, I think, or maybe the second one. Anyway, he doesn't realize that, he's only going to get like $20,000 to do this, not $1 million fucking dollars. He doesn't realize this yet, but we'll get to that later. Back to the swamp now, and they're like YouTubing the voodoo chant that was said to I guess it was the voodoo chant that was used by the mother on the nurse. You know what I'm talking about? That created Victor Crowley, basically. You remember that, Vic, from Hatchet 2, where we got the scene where yeah. So they're trying to recreate this voodoo chant so they could film it, and like they can't figure out what it says, and they're playing YouTube to get the right pronunciation. Well, around this time, the fucking plane just like goes nuts, and it's crashing, and it does crash, and a body falls out of the fucking sky. I mean, it's crazy how it all happens. You know how a plane crash goes. People are flying out the fucking plane, and a body like drops right in front of them, and one of them drops the phone, and the phone's still going with these YouTube chants. And we get one last view of the phone at some point of a voodoo chant. And you know who's the one on there? Did you see the last person who was chanting or doing the voodoo thing?
Who?
It was Reverend Zombie. Tony Todd cameo. Yeah, I noticed that the first time, but I wasn't totally sure what I had just seen. But, I watched it a few more times. I'm so glad that he came back. I have to tell you, I think that's the thing that's lacking in the third and fourth movies. Tony Todd really helped make those first two movies. I mean, even with just a small scene in the first one, it was like maybe one of the best scenes of the whole movie.
Yeah.
So then what you get here is, Victor Crowley comes back to life because of this voodoo, or we assume because of the voodoo. And Vic, this is, again, where things just go haywire. He starts picking people off one by one. Simple as that. He takes out the douchebag that's with Chloe. He eventually takes out Chloe, and this is where it's shocking because you think Chloe's going to be the survivor girl in this one, but not so much. They get taken out. He takes out the boyfriend of Tiffany Shepis' character, who we find out is pregnant. But during this whole thing, Tiffany Shepis is actually trapped under a chair while they're sinking in the swamp. And eventually she drowns. And that's kind of a fucked up scene, to find out she's pregnant and then to watch her drown the way she does. I mean, most of the Victor Crowley kills are so comical. This was one of those, seriously fucked up kills. You know what I mean, Vic? How do I explain that? It's uncomfortable to watch,
Yeah, it was pretty fucked up. For somebody that like kind of things.
Yeah, it was outside of the Hatchet norm, people would come up to Adam Green at these book signings, and or book signings or whatever the fuck they are, the conventions, and be like, "Why did you do that? Why did you film that? That was fucked up." And he's like, "Well, did it affect you?" And they're like, "Yeah." And he goes, "That's why we did it." So, Well, it's just like Frozen, Vic. Remember in Frozen, whenever the girl starts talking about the dog that's trapped in the house, and that's in its own way a really sad scene. This is kind of the same thing. We're seeing people get hacked apart, but none of that affects us. But when you see it in a real life type of weird situation like that, it's more. Plus, I know you're disturbed by drowning anyway.
Yeah, that's creepy.
It brought me back to what was it, Vic? Saw 4, Saw 5? Where the dude's head was trapped in the box?
Yeah. That was horrible. I think it was 4.
Yeah, it was 4, and then they kind of explained it in 5 what happens. So, but yeah, it's just a fucked up scene. And Tiffany Shepis apparently is a badass because she had to lay in water this entire fucking movie. That would suck. That would blow out.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, so she gets taken out. We get Felicia Rose taken out, but she gets taken out in a way that we've never seen before. She's trying to call somebody. Kane Hodder, Victor Crowley, hacks her arm off, shoves it in her pussy with the phone still in her hand, all the way out her mouth. And this is another one of those scenes where you're like, what the fuck is going on here? You know, like, it's like, they're just like, we don't have any good ideas for kills, so we're just going to come up with the most insane shit we can come up with. And they did. So props to them. Like, there wasn't any kills in this movie that, like, say what?
I thought it was a great idea.
Oh, it was. But what I'm saying is, in this movie, there wasn't that brutal kill. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the other movies, you might have that one brutal kill that really sticks with you. So what they did was they just came out with the most, they just came out with the most ridiculous thing they could think of. And this is it. So, can you think of anything else in the movie that's there's one, we'll get there.
That's pretty outlandish.
Yeah. Okay, but, you know, he takes her down. He takes everybody down, Sabrina included, until it is just him, Andrew, Dylan, and Rose that are left, which is surprising because you don't think Rose is going to last this long, and who knew if Andrew would be. It's really weird to see Andrew in the leading role in this because he basically is. It's like Lin Shaye is the leading role in Insidious 3 and 4, you know? It doesn't fit.
Yep.
It's very odd. Like, he seems like not the lead character of any movie. But he is. Oh, maybe that's because Asians are never the lead character unless it's a kung fu movie. I know that's racist, but it's true. Deny it.
And Godzilla.
Yes, Godzilla. So anyway, it's down to them. And Dylan gets this plane working to the point that the actual engine's running. And they're trying to knock Victor Crowley into the engine and spit him out the other side, basically. And I love the part where Rose is like, though she be little, she be fierce or whatever. And she throws the axe and it just falls down in front of him. Like, or the hatchet, it doesn't come anywhere near him. It was a terrible throw. And then essentially what happens is Dylan spears Victor Crowley, and they both go fucking flying through this plane rudder. How awesome was that, Vic? They just fucking squirt out the other side.
It was amazing.
That was the best kill in this, as far as I'm concerned. I know the Felicia Rose one was like over the top and crazy, but I like the one where they go shooting through this thing, just like when you throw somebody in a wood chipper. That's the shit I love. But, you know, that's where the movie ends, right there. But it doesn't, because it goes on a little bit longer. And they're showing news reports of what happened. And, you know, you've got Rose and Andrew have survived, but somebody's watching the TV, and I'm thinking, is this Danielle Harris? This has to be Danielle Harris. And then she turns around with her horrible Southern accent, and she's like, I've been waiting for you, motherfucker, or whatever. And she cocks her shotgun, and she leaves. So good ending to Victor Crowley, and it sets up for a Hatchet 5. Adam Green's already confirmed that he wants to do a Hatchet 5. It just really depends on you motherfuckers and you not pirating his shit. So hopefully he makes some money off of this, and we get a Hatchet 5. That doesn't reveal my feelings on the movie. I just always want a new Hatchet, just like I want a new Saw. As simple as that, Vic.
Yeah, if we don't get a Hatchet 5, I'm coming for all you motherfuckers that pirated his shit and whipping all your asses.
We're going to show up at your house like Jay and Silent Bob and whoop your ass.
Yes.
We're going to fuck you up. All right. So, that all being said.
We deserve a Hatchet 5.
Yes. At least a Hatchet 5. I want more after that. But let's get to Hatchet 5 first. I never thought we'd get a Hatchet 4. We've talked about this before. I thought that was the end of the line after Part 3. It just seems like a bitch to do, you know?
Apparently he just got bored one day and decided to do it.
Yeah. I mean, this was a shoestring budget at best. So I'm going to let you talk about it, Vic, because you've been Silent Vic. You've given your opinion here or there, but, you know, Silent Vic gets to give his opinion first.
Man, I love this movie. I know I told you that when I first watched it. You probably thought I was crazy. I'm still not sure of your thoughts on it because you haven't really told me how you felt about it.
I saved it.